according to the teachings of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, as given to us by His Divine Grace, our spiritual master, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. This chanting and glorification of the holy name, fame, pastimes, qualities of Krishna and Krishna's many incarnations. This is how to drive out the pernicious effects of the age of Kali. And we are doing the greatest humanitarian work for this city of Newport Coast, because the sound vibration is carrying, they're hearing it, the vibrations are there, and it is all benedictory. We achieve so much benefit by this congregational chanting. We're going to have different singers, and in between the singers, I will be speaking to you, reading from the Srimad Bhagavatam, and also one nice excerpt from the Rāmaṇa, because the other day it was the historical anniversary of the day Lord Rāma defeated Rāvaṇa. Ram Vijayotsav. So I would ask you to please try to hear as best you can, because this is also kirtan. Besides chanting, we chant on our beads, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rāma, Rāma Rāma, Hare Hare. And we also talk about Krishna, describe, and as I said, his various incarnations, of which Ram is one of them. So to put ourselves in the right mood, I would ask you to please repeat the sacred 12-syllable mantra that was chanted by Dhruv, by Prahlad, by Chitraketu, the 12-syllable mantra. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. I always begin my lectures or sermons with the following two mantras. Trinadapi Sunichena Tarariva Sahishnuna Amanina Manadena Kirtaniya Sadahari. I am instructed by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that in any circumstance, at all times, I must think and feel myself lower than the blade of grass. Even though I am sitting on an elevated seat, technically known as Vyasasana, my duty is to present the teachings of Vyasadeva. Therefore, my first excerpt is from Srimad Bhagavatam. I cannot present my own philosophy. My duty is to present the philosophy of Vyasadeva. And I must see myself as insignificant. How insignificant? Lower than a blade of grass. And this is at all times. in all circumstances. I must be more tolerant than the tree. The tree tolerates scorching heat, blistering winds, cold, but the tree never protests. And even if the tree is drying up, dying out of water, it'll not say anything. It just goes on tolerating. So I must tolerate everything. I must give respects to every living entity. Why? Because Krishna is within everyone's heart. I am not to see on the bodily platform. That is the first lesson of Bhagavad Gita. To come off the bodily platform. Not man, not woman, not American, not Hindu. These are false designations. Pandita Samadarshina. How is that possible? How can one see equally? Simple. Everyone is the resting place of Krishna. Krishna is in everyone's heart. That's all. And everyone is an individual, eternal personality. So sometimes I like to joke, get used to yourself. You're not going away. You are eternally an individual. Of course, you're not what you see in the mirror, but still you are an individual, eternal person, soul. And then the hardest one of all, not to be expecting praise and honor from others. In such a state of mind, one can easily always chant the holy name, and that is the next mantra. Hare Nama, Hare Nama, Hare Namaiva Kevalam, Kalo Nastyeva, Nastyeva, Nastyeva Gatir Anyata. As I mentioned in the beginning, the religion of the age is glorification and chanting of the holy name of God. There is no other way. There is no other way. There is no other way. Whether you're a Christian, Muslim, Buddhist, Mohammedan, whatever religion, you have the name of God as prescribed, chant God's name. That's it. Don't worry about so many other things. Main thing, chant the holy name of God. Of course, I am a Krishna salesman. That is my job. So obviously, as Krishna's salesman, I'm going to sell you Krishna. Sorry. I'm quite happy to be Krishna's salesman. I have been doing this since 1973, and I have no regrets. And I would make that decision 100 times over. Because one time Prabhupada was sitting with some of his advanced or senior disciples, and he asked them, what's the difference between me and you? So they all gave their thing. He says, no, I'm convinced, you're not. So yes, little by little, you become convinced. How do you become convinced? Because as Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, as you surrender to me, I reciprocate. So it's scientific. Pratyak Shabhagamam Dharmyam. It's not hocus pocus. It's not pie in the sky. Trust me. I'm not going to spend 40 plus years chasing some post-dated check. Follow something and after you die, then you'll know what you get. No, I want something now. And how did I know? Prashad. Prashad is what sealed the deal. I said, yes. Nobody has like this. Nowhere in New York was I going to find this wonderful prashad. Then, little by little application, by chanting, studying, serving, Krishna reveals more and more. And as the process matures, the day comes, one day comes, and you realize Krishna in person. It doesn't happen overnight. It's a scientific process. Gradually, this is explained in Bhagavad Gita. Shanakshanaya uparamed. Gradually, step by step, one enters this stage of realizing Krishna. But along the way, you get so many affirmations, confirmations that yes, I'm on the right path. And I have every reason to believe that in this life or some future life, I will achieve love of God. Everybody chant the Maha Mantra. Hare Krishna.
Krishna Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Rāma, Rāma Rāma, Hare Hare.
First, introduction. There is this prayer by the great Vaishnava poet Jayadev Goswami. He has described 10 avatars. And in each stanza of his song, Keshavadrita, meaning these avatars are representations, incarnations of Keshava. Keshava means three things. Keshava means someone whose hair is very, very, very fine. Fine hair. Keshava means that there was once a demon, the horse demon, Keshi. And this person took his fist and arm into the mouth of this horse demon and killed him. Then the third meaning of this Keshava. Who is it that controls Brahma and Shiva? Who is that controller? Ka Isha. That is Keshava. And those who know who is Keshava, they know him by what name? Krishna or Govinda. Everybody say Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
All right, so in prayer number 7, Vitarasi Dikshu Rane Dikpati Kamaniyang Dashamukamauli Balim Ramaniyam Keshavadrita Rāma Sharira Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare. Okay, please repeat. O Keshava.
O Keshava.
O Lord of the universe.
O Lord of the universe.
O Lord Hari.
O Lord Hari.
You have assumed the form of Ramachandra.
You have assumed the form of Ramachandra.
All glories to you.
All glories to you.
In the battle of Lanka,
In the battle of Lanka,
you destroy
you destroy
the 10-headed demon
the 10-headed demon
known as Rāvaṇa,
known as Rāvaṇa,
and you distribute his heads
and you distribute his head
as a delightful offering
as delightful offerings
to the presiding deities
to the presiding deities
of the 10 directions,
of the 10 directions,
headed by Indra.
headed by Indra.
And this action was long desired
This action was long desired
by all of them
by all of them
who were much harassed by this monster.
monster.
So, this week they have a monster puja called Halloween. Everybody dresses up as some kind of monster and they enjoy, or they think they enjoy. So this Rāvaṇa, he was one of the founder acharyas of this monster sampradaya. He had many monster worshippers. Okay, we will take a break here. Everybody chant the Maha Mantra one time.
Hare Krishna.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Lord Rāma is mentioned in both the first and second cantos. In the first canto, Sutta Goswami is describing to the sages of Naimisharanya various kinds of avatars or incarnations of God. Avatar means one who descends from the kingdom of God, the spiritual world, down to this material plane. There are 6 different kinds of avatars. In this instance, he refers to Lord Rāma as a Leela avatar, meaning the Lord comes down to perform an amazing drama. It is a dramatic performance, better than any movie that anyone can come up with. But in this case, this movie is a real movie. It is transcendental and full of excitement and superhuman activities. So, Sutta Goswami just gives a very quick, concise description. Here is the Sanskrit shloka, because Srimad Bhagavatam is written in the Sanskrit language. Nara devatvam apanaha surakarya chakirshaya samudra nigrahadini chakre viryanyatak padam. I would ask you to repeat. Sutta Goswami said, in the 18th incarnation, the Lord appeared as King Rāma in order to perform some pleasing work for the demigods. Lord Rāma exhibited superhuman powers by controlling the Indian Ocean and then killing the atheist king Rāvaṇa, who was on the other side of the sea. Now in the second canto, very good. That means somebody is locked in. Excellent. That is, give that person a hand. That is excellent. Excellent. That means so far I've done my job. The idea is to capture. In the second canto, Lord Brahma is answering inquiries from his best son. Lord Brahma has 10 direct sons. The 10th one was the best. Narada Muni Bhajaya Vina Radhika Ramana Name Nama Amani Udita Hoy Bhagavad Gita Same Narada Muni Bhajaya Vina Radhika Ramana Name. One time, Prabhupada was speaking in a theater, but hardly anybody attended the program. The devotees felt very bad. Only a few people showed up, so the disciples said, Prabhupada, we are very sorry. Prabhupada said, you did not see? Narada Muni was there. And he named all these different. So, I cannot explain, but I take what Prabhupada says as it is. We would be more than fortunate if Narada Muni was to appear. And it is said in the scriptures that when there is this Sankirtan, so many great personalities attend, besides yourselves, of course. Because in the opinion of the Chaitanya Charitamrita, anyone who performs Sankirtan is most glorious. While you are here, you are to be considered saintly. While you are here, there is no sin, there is no inauspiciousness, everything is blissful. And Yamaraj cannot harm you while we are doing this Sankirtan. So let's do as long as we can. So Lord Brahma is narrating to his son Narada so many different avatars, and like Sutta just gives a quick synopsis. But in the case of Ram, he comes up with 3 verses, because Ram is one of the most prominent of the avatars. Asmat prasada sumukha kalaya kalesha ikshvaku vangsha avatir goror nideshe tishtam vanang sadjigatanuja avivesha yasmin virudya dashakandara artam archat. Please repeat. Lord Brahma said to his son,
Lord Brahma said to his son,
the great Saint Narada,
great Saint Narada,
due to his causeless mercy
due to his causeless mercy
upon all living entities
upon all living entities
within the universe,
within the universe,
the Supreme Personality of Godhead,
the Supreme Personality of Godhead,
along with its plenary extensions,
along with his plenary extension,
appeared in the family
appeared in the family
of Maharaj Ikshvaku
Maharaj Ikshvaku,
as the Lord of his internal potency,
is Lord of his internal potency,
Sita, under the order of his father,
under the order of his father,
Maharaj Dasharatha.
Maharaj Dasharatha.
He entered the forest
He entered the forest,
and lived there for considerable years,
therefore considerable years,
along with his wife
along his wife,
and younger brother.
younger brother.
So, many things were said here. Let's fully grasp it. So the first thing, causeless mercy. God does not have to do anything. He is completely independent, swarat. Nobody can make him do anything. The wife makes the husband do so many things. The husband tries to make the wife to do so many things. Children have to do what the parents say. But nobody can make God do anything because he is completely independent. So whenever he does anything, it is out of his own sweet will. It's not causal. You cannot bribe God. Can't make a deal. All right, God, I'll do this if you do this. It doesn't work that way. He'll do something only out of his loving free will or causeless mercy. He is merciful. Why? Because we are his children. That's why he's merciful. He cares about us, does not interfere with our independence. And in the words of Lord Chaitanya, if you call out his name, Hare Krishna, then he tends to respond to that calling out. Now it says here, he's the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In the words of the Vedanta, the Absolute Truth has 3 features: impersonal, localized, and personal. The personal form is the ultimate phase of the Absolute Truth. So when it says Supreme Personality, it's referring that God is ultimately the Supreme Person, Purusha Uttama, Purushottama. Now, it says he appears in a particular family. Just as Bhagavan Krishna appeared in the Soma Vangsha or Moon Dynasty, Lord Ram appears in the Surya Vangsha or the Sun Dynasty, succession of kings such as Maharaj Ikshvaku who is mentioned in the Bhagavad Gita in the opening shloka of chapter 4. Then it said, Lord of his internal potency. God has different energies, potencies. So he has an external potency, which we deal with every day, this material energy, represented by Goddess Durga, the external material energy. But then he has another energy, the internal spiritual energy. And one of her names is Sita. Then Brahma explained, under the order of his father, yes, his father had made a promise, and when it came time to implement that promise, it was actually the end of Dasarath. He had to banish his own son, and it ultimately broke his heart. Those of you who know the story of the Rāmaṇa. Everybody were willing to take Ram's place because his wife said, you must banish Ram to the forest for 14 years. And my son Bharat should be installed as king. This broke Dasarath's heart. And so many people were willing to take Ram's place, even Bharat. Bharat was willing to take, but Ram said, no, I must keep the word of my father. That was for him the topmost principle. So he did that. But his wife Sita insisted, I must go with my husband. This is true partnership. The wife follows the husband. And he was also accompanied by his younger brother, Lakshman. This is part 1. Don't touch that dial. Chant Hare Krishna.
Hare.
So before we have Arti, I want to give this short excerpt from the Rāmaṇa. In the past 4 years, I went through the Rāmaṇa and broke it out into little scenes. So this scene is called Ram Pierces Ravana's Heart, as was celebrated Ram Vijayotsav. So try to hear now. On the battlefield, Ram was himself expressing exhaustion from the fight. In the heavens, the great Rishi Agastya saw this and desired to assist Ram. Agastya had been observing the battle from the sky along with the other gods. Now he descended to Ram's chariot and spoke. O mighty armed Ram, please listen as I tell you the secret of a highly confidential prayer. It is known as Aditya Hriday. This prayer will invoke the powerful spiritual energy from the heart of the sun. This is the very effulgence of the Supreme Vishnu himself. And with this power, one can overcome any obstacle and destroy to the roots all of one's enemies. Agastya instructed Ram how to recite the prayer, which would summon the combined power of all the gods emanating from the bodily rays of Vishnu. With that power, Ram would be able to quickly overcome Ravana before nightfall, when the demon's own power would be doubled. The Rishi then returned to the heavens. Ram turned toward the sun. After sipping water for purification, he recited the Aditya Hridaya at once. Ram felt extreme happiness, and his mind became highly enlivened, and all his fatigue vanished, and he took up his bow. He stood firmly on Indra's chariot, fixing his gaze upon Ravana, who had again appeared before him. He urged Matali forward toward the demon. In the heavens, the sun god stood in person amid the other gods, uttering benedictions upon Ram. He then said, "May victory attend you." Let's all say that. Look at Ram and now say it with your heart. Ram saw Ravana's chariot flying toward him, filling all the quarters with its thunderous rumbling. That chariot was drawn by huge black steeds with the heads of hideous fiends. It shone with a dreadful luster and was adorned all over with brilliant rubies and celestial sapphires, along with rows of pennants flying from all sides. Moving rapidly through space, it looked like a cloud containing streams of shining water and issuing forth torrents in the form of arrows. Ram then said to Matali, "From the way in which he is darting back and forth, it appears that this Rakshasa is bent upon his own destruction. Close upon him with care. I shall destroy his chariot, even as the wind would blow away a cloud." Grasping the bow of Indra, Ram tempered his anger with patience as he awaited the opportunity to attack the demon who was maneuvering on the battlefield. Matali skillfully drove the chariot in circles and gradually closed in on Ravana, the two opponents releasing streams of arrows and appearing like two proud lions intent on killing each other. Suddenly, many frightful omens appeared. Blood rained down on Ravana's chariot, while violent whirlwinds tossed it about. A flock of vultures circled over the demon. In the distance, Lanka was shrouded in a red glow. Great meteors fell from the sky, and the earth shook. The sky became dark, even though the sun shone. Terrible thunderbolts and flashes of lightning fell upon the Rakshasa army. Ravana's horses shed hot tears and emitted sparks from their mouths. Around Ram were seen many favorable signs that portended his imminent victory. The sun illuminated him brilliantly, and a gentle breeze blew behind him. He felt his right eye and right arm throb, and his mind felt joyful. As Ram and Ravana met in fearful combat, the two armies stood motionlessly with their weapons held fast in their hands. Observing Ram and the demon engaged in a desperate duel, all the warriors, along with the gods, Gandharvas, and Rishis, watched in wonderment. The two belligerent opponents each exhibited their full prowess on the battlefield as they hurled blazing weapons at each other. Ram fitted a highly sharpened shaft to his bow, irresistible as a thunderbolt and shining with all splendor. Drawing back his bow to a full circle, he released the arrow at Ravana's flag standard. It severed the tall pole and the demon's ensign fluttered to the ground. Rāvaṇa burned with indignation. He then sent a hail of flaming steel arrows at Ram's horses. Struck by the arrows, the celestial horses neither flinched nor shook, but continued to draw the great chariot around in various circles and movements, baffling Rāvaṇa's arrows. Rāvaṇa fired a tremendous shower of maces, iron clubs, discs, and mallets, as well as mountain peaks, trees, pikes, and double-headed axes. At the same time, Rāvaṇa released tremendous volleys of arrows which fell towards Ram's chariot like streaks of golden lightning. By Matali's expert handling, Indra's chariot constantly foiled Rāvaṇa's weapons. The Rakshasa became more and more infuriated and directed his mystic missiles upon the army of monkeys. Seeing this, Ram fitted celestial weapons to his bow, which sent innumerable arrows into the sky. Those arrows fell upon Rāvaṇa's weapons, smashing them to pieces. Not one arrow shot by Ram failed to find its mark. The sky was completely filled with golden-plumed shafts shot by Ram. The missiles of the two fighters met together in hundreds and thousands. They created explosions of fire and billows of smoke across the whole battlefield. Ram and Rāvaṇa fought vehemently for hours without interruption, exchanging blow for blow. Neither felt weary nor inclined to give up an inch to the other. Those observing the fight felt their hair standing on end. No one could take their eyes off the furious fighters as they battled on, relentlessly seeking victory. Rāvaṇa then sent 20, 60, 100, then 1,000 arrows at Ram, aiming for his vital parts or seeking to kill his chariot driver and horses. But Ram responded with twice that number, digging shafts into Rāvaṇa's horses and chariot driver, while at the same time constantly covering the demon. Even after fighting one half the day, neither seemed to have the upper hand. Rāvaṇa then composed himself and once again invoked the Rakshasa Astra, imbuing it with all his mystic potency. Immediately the air was filled with a thick shower of every kind of weapon. The entire globe seemed to shake, and the ocean became agitated. Serpents and devils appeared screaming in the sky, emitting fire from their mouths. The sun lost its brilliance, and the wind ceased to blow. In the heavens, the gods themselves became fearful and cried out, "May all be well with the worlds!" With full concentration, Ram again invoked the Gandharva Astra, which caused hundreds of thousands of arrows to appear and counter Rāvaṇa's weapons. Those awful and demoniac missiles fell to the ground, being burned up, having been pierced by Ram's fiery shafts. The battle between Ram and Rāvaṇa could only be compared to itself. Such a fight had never been seen at any time, even by the gods. They watched anxiously as Ram came under repeated ferocious attacks from the Lord of the Rakshasas. But Ram remained calm. He took from his quiver a great razor-headed arrow that resembled a venomous serpent. Within an instant, he fitted and fired the arrow at Rāvaṇa. That arrow, imbued with mystic power, divided into 10, tearing off the demons' heads. But the heads immediately grew back again. Ram sent another weapon, which again severed the Rakshasas' heads, but again they grew back. Ram struck down 100 heads, but the demon remained standing without slowing his attack for even a moment. Ram contemplated this wonderful phenomenon. How was this demon to be killed? No weapon seemed to be able to take his life. It looked like the fight might go on forever. Vibhishan quickly approached Ram. He told Ram that the demon had a boon from Brahma, that his heads and arms could never be destroyed. But in Ravana's heart was a store of celestial nectar, which renewed life in his body. The only way to kill Ravana was to strike at his heart with a divine weapon that could dry up the nectar. As Ram considered his next move, all the while raining arrows upon Ravana, Matali turned to Ram and spoke. "O Ram, the time for this one's death has now come. Recall now the prayer Agastya told you. Agastya also gave you an arrow when you were in the forest. Imbue that arrow with the force of the Brahma Astra and kill the demon by piercing his heart." Accepting Matali's advice, Ram remembered the celestial arrow which Agastya had given him long ago in the forest. At once it appeared in his hand, and he fitted it to his bow. Its shaft was made of ether, and its weight consisted of the Manda and Meru mountains. The wind god presided over its shaft, the fire god over its plumes, and the sun god was installed at its point. It looked like the rod of universal destruction wielded by the time spirit himself. Ram again chanted the Aditya Hridaya prayer, invoking the infallible Brahma Astra. As Ram drew back the arrow, he shone so brilliantly, no one could look at him. He released the weapon, flown, and it hit Ravana, lighting up the earth and sky, roaring like a tumultuous ocean. It struck Ravana on his chest, even as he stood firing his own weapons at Ram. Piercing through his heart, the arrow emerged from Ravana's body, soaked in blood, and then entered the earth. Ravana whirled around and let out a cry which seemed to shake the entire creation. His bow dropped from his hands. Ravana fell from his chariot like a mountain struck down by Indra's thunderbolt. Victory to Ram!
Haribol!
Ravana has been slain. Jai Ram, Sri Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Everybody. Jai Ram, Sri Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Everybody.
Jai Ram, Sri Ram, Jai Jai Ram.
Jai Ram, Sri Ram, Jai Jai Ram.
Jai Ram, Sri Ram, Jai Jai Ram.
Thank you. We will now have Arti and Kirtan led by my very good friend Gadadhar Das.